All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. It is 2:02 p.m. Ms. Stickney, will you call the roll?
Miss Berry is not here. Miss Casper, present. Mr. Hammonds,
Present.
Miss Myers,
Present.
Mr. Bella.
Here. And Ms. Stickney, did we post the agenda in accordance with the Open Meetings Act?
Yes, we did.
Thank you. Mr. Webb, were there any public comments?
No public comments.
Mr. Hunt, Superintendent Spotlight.
Yes, sir. So one of the things that I've been trying to do over the course of these last few months is highlight what happens and when to begin a school year. And so we've had some student spotlights. Last week I mentioned, the registration process, and then enrollment's not complete until an individualized learning plan is completed by the teacher, and then comes the learning fund order. And I wanted this month to highlight our asset office. So every student at Epic, of course, we're a virtual school, needs a Chromebook, needs a device, whether it's the Chromebook or even a MiFi for internet. And we chose, I believe it was last year, was our first full year to take all of that in-house instead of contract with a third party. And so this video is one that our comms team has created, highlighting the asset office.
This is a major operation, a major undertaking. This is a 21,000 square foot warehouse.
Where we house primarily our student Chromebooks.
Last year we shipped out somewhere in the neighborhood of 20,000 units. We're dealing in massive numbers because we have a large student population, 30,000 students.
Who all need a username and a password for their curriculum. We could do it rapidly in time for them to start.
We are a virtual school. Technology is at the heart of everything we do, and therefore getting technology out to the students is vitally important. For years, we outsourced this. We thought that bringing this work in-house, that we could do a better job. If we can do that faster, not only cheaper, but faster, then that means less downtime for the student.
A lot of it's about getting the technology in front of them and then not making it an obstacle.
We have new units that are coming in and or used units that are coming back from former students. We are prepping those and getting them ready so they go through a check-in process. My team is grabbing them and going through all the steps to get them prepped and ready for the next student. We have students all over the state and we're shipping to anywhere that they are.
The one thing that we do try to emphasize is looking at what's best for the students. The better we can do our jobs directly impacts the teacher to do that instruction in an even a better manner. And so we take that very seriously.
Yeah, so we've really been able to control our downtime. When we were dependent upon a third party, it was almost impossible to know when our students would get what they need. And now we have more control over that. And that's just a huge part of the beginning of the year for students and employees at Epic Charter Schools. So thank you to those employees at the asset office.
Next item is board committee reports. Governance.
For the Finance Committee, we met with Michael Flory and Daniel. Sorry, Daniel, I forgot your last name. Haynes. Thank you. And we went over a lot of the things that Michael's going to discuss today in this meeting. The Finance Committee has also brought on a consultant that will start next month. His name's Eddie Havarilla. He is a CPA. He has his MBA in Accounting and Finance from Georgia State University, a BBA in Accounting from the University of Georgia. He was a founding partner of Havarilla and Goranson and ran that firm for 30 years prior to merging with another firm to form Heritage CPAs, where he currently works. Prior to forming the first CPA firm, he was an audit supervisor for Coopers and Lambrand. And I think he's going to be a wonderful addition to this committee. And that's all I have.
And then I have a report on nominating. Eddie Havrilla is currently consulting with finance, and nominating will seek his nomination to our full board in February after we have selected our superintendent.
Okay.
And then I have the beginnings of our ad hoc superintendent search committee report. We did a survey, and over 80% of the school responded. Regarding operations, the desire for transparency was a standout. Regarding candidate qualifications, previous school leadership experience and teaching experience were important. And regarding students' engagement, attendance, and resource use were flagged. And I'll let Mike take it from there.
Okay. We've received numerous applications for this superintendent position. As of now, we've completed 8 first-round interviews. Those were conducted by Brandon Webb, and they were a set of scripted questions that each candidate received the same questions, and the full committee will watch the videos of these interviews to grade them. Those candidates will then be either considered for a second round or not. We still have until the end of September. September 30th is the cutoff to receive applications for superintendents. We have at least one interview coming up tomorrow. And before I left to come here, I noticed we had another application new today that was uploaded. So we're still receiving applications, and so far we've got a lot of really good applicants. So that's where we stand. Yeah, I think that's
Okay.
no. Thank you, Trevor.
Thank you. All right, next item, consideration and possible action to confirm the 5 aspirations for the 2025-2026 school year.
So this is just something we do every year to make sure the board wants to continue in this direction with the 5 aspirations. And Justin's here to recite those if any of you need that. And I think, if the board goes ahead and confirms these, Justin's been talking about, trying to find a permanent place on our website to try to emphasize these a little bit more to both our school community and the community of the state as a whole.
Okay. Any discussion? I would accept a motion to approve.
But second.
Ms. Stigney, will you call the roll?
Yes, Miss Berry has arrived. So Miss Berry.
I'm sorry, what are we voting on?
Oh, I'm sorry. 5 aspirations to confirm them. Okay.
Yes.
Miss Casper.
Yes.
Mr. Hammonds.
Yes.
Miss Myers.
Yes.
Mr. Vella.
Yes.
Okay. Next item, consideration and possible action to remove Janice Wynn, former Deputy Superintendent of Finance, and Carrie Truver, former Executive Director of Finance, as approved signers for Regent Bank and from online banking access for Regent Bank. Is there any discussion? If not, I would accept a motion.
So moved.
Miss Berry.
Yes.
Miss Casper.
Yes.
Mr. Hammonds.
Yes.
Miss Myers.
Yes.
And Mr. Vella.
Yes.
Next item is consideration and possible action to approve Michael Flory, Chief Financial Officer, and Board Member Trevor Hammonds as approved signers for Regent Bank with online banking access. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I would accept a motion.
So moved.
Miss Berry.
Yes.
Miss Casper.
Yes.
Mr. Hammonds.
Yes.
Miss Myers.
Yes.
Mr. Vella.
Yes.
Next item, presentation and possible discussion regarding statewide charter board, school board annual performance framework for the 2023-24 school year. Skylar.
Welcome.
Good afternoon. My name is Skylar Lusnia. I'm the Director of School Performance for the Statewide Charter School Board, your authorizer and sponsor. We did a annual performance framework report as required by statute, and we have presented that report to our board, and statute also requires that we present it to your board, so that's what I'm here doing today. I trust that you all have a copy of the performance framework in your board packet, and so we'll just take off. This can be as high level or as deep as you guys would like to go, so feel free to stop me at any time. So the overall performance framework report score that EPIC received was a 70.64, and the school's not up for renewal this year or last year, so it doesn't matter as far as guiding renewal for this annual performance report and score. But if this were one of the reports that guides renewal, then it would mean the score of 70.64 would mean that the school would be required to submit a reauthorization application. So just wanted to kind of mention that if the score remains steady over the years, then you should be anticipating needing to submit a reauthorization application at renewal time. So for academics, and I admit I am not the expert in academics. We have an academic compliance officer, and she is the one that did the academic performance framework section. What she wanted to point out, her name's Dr. J.C. Smith, and she wanted to point out that the academic score was 44.69%. There were 16 total possible points, and EPIC scored 7.15 of those points. And then a couple of high points was that although the school didn't meet the state proficiency levels in English language arts or in mathematics, all grades did surpass the previous year's proficiency levels by at least 5% in math, and 3rd through 8th grades increased their proficiency levels by at least 5% in English language arts. So what that means is that the year-over-year scores for EPIC students in math and English language arts did increase for the most part. For special education and economically disadvantaged subgroups, all grade levels increased their proficiency rate by at least 5% in English language arts. In math, it was only 4th grade, and in special education, 11th grade, that did not surpass the previous year's results by at least 5%. So there's a couple other areas where the school showed year-over-year growth on the state tests. Now, while EPIC did not meet the state graduation rate of 81% for all seniors, of the 3,177 seniors enrolled on the first day of school who were within 6 credit hours of graduation, 94.27% of those seniors went on to graduate in that school year, 2023-2024. That's all I have for academic, unless you have some questions. If not, then I'll move on to financial. So EPIC scored 84% on the financial performance framework, receiving 36 out of the total possible 43 points. For that fiscal year, 2023-2024, the audit was unmodified with no findings for the regulatory basis of accounting, or OCAS. So that's a good thing. Unmodified is a good thing. All of the point deductions were for the material weaknesses that were identified during the audit of internal controls over financial reporting. The school received full points for financial accountability metrics and for your governing board involvement. And that really is the overview for financial. So moving on to the organizational performance framework, EPIC scored a 94% on organizational performance framework. And this is where most of the governance criteria lie. So that's positive. The only point reduction was for not meeting the student attendance rate of the state. EPIC's 2023-2024 student attendance rate was 70.87%, which fell short of the state rate of 78.1%. And just wanted to mention that the school performance division at the statewide charter school board does plan to work with the school to ensure that your vision and mission align with your school's decisions and are consistently reflected in your documentation. And Further, we hope to work with the school to ensure that your school leaders and you, the board, are appropriately engaging in regular and productive strategic planning. So that'll conclude my presentation unless you guys have some questions for me.
What is, so you, overall we were a 70 point what, 6?
70.64, that's right.
So what's the magic number so that you don't have to reapply?
That's a great question, and I think I have the answer. It is okay. I thought I knew what it was, but I just wanted to make sure. It's a 75.
Okay.
So a 75 or greater, and the school would have to submit a letter requesting renewal. 60 to 74% is a reauthorization application, and anything below 60 runs the risk of not being renewed.
And when does that time period, when do we have to reapply?
Now that I don't know for sure. Does anybody happen to know the charter contract term for Epic right now?
I believe our current contract runs through 2030, which means we would reapply in 2029.
Yes. Yes. Okay. I'm glad you knew that, and that does make sense. It seems like it was just yesterday that you were up for renewal, and then you got renewed, and it was for a 3-year term, and then you requested 2, and were granted that through 2030. June 30th of 2030 makes sense. So the way the statute reads right now is we are supposed to deliver a performance report prior to the final year of the charter contract, which will guide renewal. That was a bit of a mistake that the legislature made when they did the big update. It should really be before the 4th year of the charter contract, so that we're not trying to guide renewal at the same time that a renewal application might be due. So I'm not sure if that's going to be corrected with this next round of legislation. But regardless, we feel like we can still line it up with the statute if we need to. So if we get to June 30th of 2029, hopefully we'll be issuing that report well before being all the way into your subsequent year like I'm doing now. We're hoping to start completing these annual performance framework reports in the spring. And so that would still give the school plenty of time to either submit a letter or a reauthorization application. So that, but like Justin Hunt said, that would be somewhere between January 1st and June 30th of 2029.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Skyler. How do these scores work when you look at having to reauthorize? Are they averaged out over a time frame, or are you looking at that last year?
It's the last year.
Okay.
So, but what we have done is we've embedded year-over-year metrics, so that if you do improve over time, then it should be reflected in your current year report. For instance, if all we did was compare Epic's academic performance to the state proficiency rate, there would have been even fewer points on the academic performance report. However, we did have some data from last year when we did this before, and in those cases, we were able to show that although you're still not meeting the state proficiency rate, the scores for your students at those grade levels are improving.
Okay. And recognizing that we would like to improve in every category, what categories could we work on to up our grade?
Absolutely. Well, for first of all, organizationally, you're doing great, right? You only had the one ding on student attendance. Financially, I think you just have to get and maintain stability there. And so that means that most of your focus needs to go to your academic performance. And in case it wasn't clear, your academic performance has essentially 2 large buckets. One is testing, and the other is graduation and college and career readiness. And so, missing the point for the graduation rate, that's That's big when you're only talking about 16 points. 1 point is what, 7 or 8%. And so some of the other buckets that you didn't hit this year were things like were your students that have been here for 3 or more years, were they performing well on their academic state testing? And they were not performing as well as the state proficiency rate. Now, I will say this, when I was looking at the details, we also didn't measure that last year, so there wasn't an opportunity for Epic to get to show that those students who have been here for 3 or more years are scoring better this year than the prior year. We will have that for next year, and hopefully that will be good. But I would say anywhere that you're testing far below the state proficiency rate is definitely an area that you should really focus on. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Skylar.
Absolutely. Thanks for letting me come and present today.
Appreciate it. Okay, next item is the superintendent report.
Okay. I'd like to start with the 5 aspirations and recite them word for word, Brandon. No, our 5 aspirations. Epic graduates are future ready and in demand. We want to be a nationally recognized leader in caregiver empowerment. We want to build and support the community in all aspects. Workplace culture and satisfaction are the heart of Epic, and Epic sets the example for innovation and performance excellence. It's been mentioned previously, but this, after going through a year that we went through, I'm of the belief that we need to reestablish these 5 aspirations as how we improve in both, what we do for students in terms of aspiration number 1, all the way to innovation and performance excellence, as well as workplace culture and satisfaction. So those are our 5 aspirations. I wanted to give a little bit of an enrollment date. Our enrollment continues to increase. So you can see this trend line in the next slide as soon as we get there, or we're there. How about that, Jeremy? This is month over month, year over year. Okay, so you can see in June of 24-25, that little bitty one is 20,700. June of this year, we were 21,263. And if you skip all the way to August, which is what we're reporting on, in 24-25, at the month end of August, we were 27,370. And at the month end of August for 25-26, we are 28,755. Now, I don't do well reporting month end, and I have the liberty to say what I want. Today, 28,800. Okay, so we are approaching 29,000 students as of today, September 11th. This is our student engagement week over week. So realistically, this is our attendance. When we report student engagement, this is how often our students are engaged on an average basis. So there are 2 weeks on the bottom because we only had 2 weeks in the month of August that we were in school. As you can see, the first week is just a little bit below an average of 80%. The goal of the organization is 80%. And the second week of August, we crept above 80%. I wrote a message to the staff, I think it was early this week. Our engagement percentage cumulatively over the first 15 days of school is 82%. So we're above our goal. We did not achieve our goal last year, but the challenge is continuing to find a way to engage our students to be in attendance, completing instructional activities at least above 80% of the time, week over week, which starts with day over day. First day of school. We always do a social media post. Show us what your first day of school is like, because school can be different. And so we have 10 pictures here of how school was different for these families in terms of their first day of school. So last month I said we hadn't started yet. Here we are. We've started. First day of school for Common Academy. And just a reminder, Common Academy is a blended type approach that we have that students and families can attend in-person learning 2 days a week for roughly 3 hours. And so these are some action shots of the first day of school for some of our Common Academy students. Field trips. So this is a list of the field trips we have beginning tomorrow at the Oklahoma City Museum of Art. We have several field trips every single month. If that's something you're interested in, there's the QR code over there, as well as the Epic Charter Schools website address, so you can see what field trips are coming up and how you can register. Student Community Service Day. That's one of the things that we've really tried to implement in terms of how we want our students to engage in their daily lives as well as adults. And so, as you know, since I just read it word for word, Aspiration 3 is building and supporting the community is evident in all aspects of Epic. And so we want our students to give back. We also allow the opportunity for our employees to give back. And then College Application Week is coming. If you have a student or we have EPIC students that are interested in furthering their education into college, we have an application week, September 22nd through 26th, and those are done virtually. And this is the information that they will go over every single day of that week, just kind of trying to educate those students that are interested and giving them a little bit more information before they actually either step foot on campus physically or virtually. The only other thing I wanted to mention, and I know we highlighted a lot, but it's really one of the things that I feel like we've done for community engagement to actually give back to communities is our Pathways program. And I'm excited to announce that as of today, it actually happened yesterday. Yesterday, we rolled over 1,000 enrolled students for Pathways, and today we're at 1,014. So that's over 1,000 young adults that have chosen to continue their education and get a high school diploma when they didn't think it was possible.
Good work, everybody. Dang.
All right, thank you. Finance update, Mr. Flory.
Try that. Good afternoon. I'm not going to try to do the aspirations. I do those though. Okay, first slide. Okay, so I wanted to back up. We did June 30 financials a little while back, but we since then have updated our financials. So you have to upload those with the State Department. You know, you have to do your closing journal entries, that sort of thing. And so you can see this is a little bit of a rehash, and with an asterisk, the SDEs has to do a final review. A lot of that is just coding of expenses. So really the main point, we ended the year with $2.2 million in carryover, which again, I've probably said this a lot of times. There was a time that we thought that would be negative. So that is good news. Okay. This is our budget versus actual, as I can read from the slide. So, you know, as you see, as we go through July, August, our budgeted revenue is, you know, right about what we've expected. However, our budgeted expenses are much higher than the actuals. So that has been good. You know, this goes back to the conservative budgeting, you know, just really working to whittle away. But we really do want to be conservative. I know in the finance committee earlier, for example, we were going over mileage, and that was significantly lower. So that is a good sign. Let's go next. Okay. So this is probably a little easier to read. Revenue to date, you can see almost $25 million, a little over $28 million in cash balance. And the green number, the revenue variance, so that is good. So we're $2 million to the good from what we budgeted. Okay. And the same on the expense side. So when we're looking at this year to date. And we are at this point $9.5 million less in expenses than expected. So that is good. We'll definitely take that. So that is the finance. I do still have the data team. They've been really integral and really bringing more transparency to the financial department, and just really so everybody can see everything out there. But I did want to move past the finance and just highlight some of the really great work they're doing. They're automating instructional dashboards. So Justin has always been a real big week over week guy, and so when you pull data from a database, the live part is great, but you don't have that snapshot. And so if you guys think back, I don't know if you remember ESC data matrix, like the charter school board had rolled that out. Great data, but it wasn't live data. It didn't really give us some, data that was actionable. And so when you have week over week trends, this gives the instructional team actionable data to work from versus going backwards and looking at state test scores back in the spring. That gives you a starting point, but it doesn't really tell you what you need to do right then and there. And so the data team has really been working with the instructional team to really meet those needs. Okay. So yeah, more of the instructional dashboards, curating pages. So I mentioned ESC, kind of over here on the right-hand side are all of the different dashboards that we really have out there. That's live data coming from our student information system, PowerSchool. And, this is, again, all about actionable data, things that you can take action on to intervene with the student. And so a couple new additions, we've got cohort progress. So, students that are falling off cohort and even down to the course completion, there are certain classes that if students are falling behind or dropping out, that is an indicator that those students will drop out. So, in my team, they're small and mighty, and I'll give them credit. They've been really doing a good job working with the instructional folks, and I think this is really good, really granular stuff. So,
yeah, let me stop you right there,
Yeah.
just because I want to bring two things together. You asked a great question of Skylar in terms of our performance framework. Some of the things he mentioned were performance, attendance, and graduation. If you look along the right-hand side, you can see exactly what we're measuring. Benchmarks and state testing are performance, graduation cohorts. So we're monitoring our students achieving their credits in conjunction with what cohorts they should be graduating in. And we have early warning signs. And then you have chronic absenteeism, which shows more about student attendance, meetings, instructional activities. So, we in conjunction with the data team are constantly monitoring from a week to week basis where we stand and the growth or lack of growth from each of those criteria that are mentioned in the framework.
What type of actions are taken when you notice chronic absenteeism in a student?
That's a little bit difficult in a virtual world. So we try to contact the parents. Oftentimes, if it comes to a worst case scenario, if they have an Epic Chromebook, we can determine what they can get on and what they can't. There are multiple measures, but most of it starts with just trying to engage, trying to get them to re-engage, and then a lot of times we'll have a parent meeting with them, and talk about small steps in order to manage their time a little bit better.
All right. Let's go to the next one. And I just wanted to highlight as well, it's not really a secret that, we've obviously had a RIF. Not everybody, it's been a rough year. And, we had a recent meeting with HR, and I'll admit I was cheap and wanted to borrow the Qualtrics, but that actually turned into a really great conversation with Michaela. And team to with our researcher Kevin Johnson, Dr. Kevin Johnson, to really just take the data in, the surveys, information that is out there, and then roll that into other data sets that we have out there. So whether that's instructional or NPS scores, just to glean what we can. There's really just a treasure trove there, and Kevin is much smarter than me when it comes to running statistical models. But I think we'll get some good information out of this, and really hopefully it informs decisions that leadership makes, and of course the board makes. So. More to come, but we were excited by that. So I just wanted to highlight that. And that's it. Questions?
I would accept a motion to accept the financial statements for the period ending July 31st, 2025.
So moved.
Second. Yes.
Ms. Casper,
Yes.
Mr. Hammonds,
Yes.
Ms. Myers,
Yes.
and Mr. Vella.
Yes.
Okay, next item is the consent agenda. Are there any items that should be removed for separate discussion? Anyone? Anyone? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
Ms. Berry,
Yes.
Ms. Casper,
Yes.
Mr. Hammonds,
Yes.
Ms. Myers,
Yes.
and Mr. Vella.
Yes.
Next, Mr. Webb, is executive session.
Yes, if the board would like to convene an executive session, we would just need a motion and approval.
I move that we convene executive session. Second.
Ms. Berry,
Yes.
Ms. Casper,
Yes.
Mr. Hammonds,
Yes.
Ms. Myers,
Yes.
and Mr. Vella.
Yes.
Go back on record.
Yes, we would need a motion and vote to return to open session.
I move we return to open session.
Second.
Ms. Berry,
Yes.
Ms. Casper,
Yes.
Mr. Hammonds,
Yes.
Ms. Myers,
Yes.
and Mr. Vella.
Yes.
Only the board members present, along with Justin Hunt and Brandon Webb, were in executive session. Only the items on the agenda were discussed. No votes were taken. All right, so for 5A4, if the board chooses to take any action based upon executive session, we had 3 items. Item 1 dealing with the superintendent, and obviously that's something that's going to be down the line, so I don't believe you would have any action there. For the second item, if somebody would like to make a motion, they can, and if not, then that position would remain status quo.
I'll make a motion to terminate the employment of the Executive Director of Communications.
Effective immediately.
Second.
Ms. Berry,
Yes.
Ms.
Yes.
Casper,
Yes.
Mr. Hammonds,
Yes.
Ms. Myers,
Yes.
and Mr. Vella.
Yes.
So on item 3, if there is a motion and a vote, you could consider hiring that position. If not, the position will remain vacant.
I will make a motion to hire Erin Hatfield for Director of Public Relations with a salary of $130,000 to start at her earliest convenience.
Second.
Ms. Berry,
Yes.
Ms. Casper,
Yes.
Mr. Hammonds,
Yes.
Ms. Myers,
Yes.
Mr. Vella.
Yes.
I'm not aware of any new business.
In that case, I move we adjourn.
Ms. Berry,
Yes.
Ms. Casper,
Yes.
Mr. Hammonds,
Yes.
Ms. Myers,
Yes.
and Mr. Vella.
Yes.